the Prime Minister was very clear. He wanted three things from the bank. He recognized that the World Bank, particularly for the middle-income countries like Jamaica, is not necessarily a source of a lot of funds, but rather it has access to a lot of knowledge. We have about 12,000 people working in all kinds of specialty. What we bring is knowledge to the table. And he asked us to work with all the other development agencies, including the UN, including the IDB, to address three priority areas that he recognized. One was the debt, addressing the debt issue, the burden it has, because you have essentially 54 cents out of every dollar the government collects goes into paying interest payments. About 35 cents goes for paying the civil servants. So you have very little resources left to do anything.
So it's debt, or what are the other two?
That, the other one was education transformation, particularly the early childhood.
Yeah.
And in fact, in May we approved an early childhood operation, 15 million US. We are working, in fact right now I have a mission working with the Ministry of Education on setting up the basic framework for the full education transformation that the government has wants to undertake. And this will be, for us, it will be a programmatic approach. The first one will set up the basic structure to be able to then undertake the other investments.
So it's debt, education, transformation.
And the third was on governance, to help and improve transparency in government. And we approved a grant, and together with the UNDP we'll be funding basically a collaborative approach to develop a governance strategy.
Let me go back to Minh, Pham. You're the resident coordinator for the UN agencies in Jamaica. We heard from the World Bank. Give us a sense of the broad scope of what you're doing in terms of your own programs in the other agencies.
Sure.
Later we are going to go into more details.
Sure. I must say first that we have about 9 sister agencies here, ranging from UNAIDS to UNICEF to UNFPA, FAO, UNESCO. So each of us specialize in our own area. HIV and AIDS, in which UNAIDS takes the lead in collaboration with other agencies such as UNESCO or UNFPA and UNICEF as well. We also, from UNDP, if I put on my UNDP's hat, we collaborated with other agencies on the issue of poverty, which cuts across the board. But for us, if I put on my hat of UNDP's hat on, our premise is that the poverty issue in Jamaica would not be able we will not be able to resolve the poverty issue if we cannot resolve the debt. Because of its crowding out effect, and there's not much, as my colleague Badrul mentioned, there's not much left.
For people watching, Minh, we hear about the UN, we hear about the World Bank, but somehow there's a perception of a distance. But these are institutions that are making some real differences where it matters most.
Yes, and I think not only our partners are government institutions and agencies, but we do work also at the community level as well. We are involved with our colleagues at the bank and also the international development partners here at the community level, where we intervene. For example, the bank on the question of health, housing. We intervene at the level of how do we organize and mobilize the community together to reduce crime, to improve access to social services. So we function both at the macro level in terms of policy, but also at the micro level, at the community level.
And from the World Bank's perspective, you're going to be here for how much longer?
As long as the country wants us. But
it's not a term. It's not a.
No. We decided to upgrade the office. In fact, I have just effective middle of November, I'll have a very senior education specialist in our office as well to to help with the whole education transformation here, and I'm in the process of recruiting a few other people. But I think the key thing is to recognize in this day and age, because of technology, we don't need to have a lot of people on the ground.
Yes.
And I have done a lot of engagement with several ministers just using the video conference. It saves their time, it saves time at the other end, plus it's very cost effective. So the fact that I'm here means that I'm available, and that's what I've been telling everyone I'm meeting, whether I meet ministers or opposition leaders. Look, I'm here. If you, whatever resources, whatever information you need, if you want to talk to someone, I can help you.
Good.
I'm not here to try and push money, but here for the middle income countries, we are at a cooperative of 185 countries. We have a lot of knowledge. Use us.
Okay. Thanks very much, Badrul Haque of the World Bank, and Minh Pham, the resident representative of the UNDP. When we come back, we'll be hearing from the UNFPA, the UN AIDS program, as well as the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. We learned that in primary school, UNESCO, and we had to read it off. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. You remember those days? When we come back, stay with us.